We got a chance to speak to Dodger Hall of Famer Vin Scully yesterday after the show. Hunt Auctions is honoring the great Vin Scully. They're going to have an auction, and it's going to take place coming up in September. And you're gonna be able to bid on some items here. His World Series ring from 1988. You're also going to be able to bid on the scorebook in his last game that he did. Another World Series ring here. President Reagan's signed baseball to Vin Scully is also in there. And I started out the conversation with Vin Scully by asking him how his summer was.
My summer has been hide and seek. The temperatures out here have been unusually high. Well, our backyard temperature one day was 117.
Oh, boy.
However, my wife and I spend most of our lives now at home, so I could just sum up the summer in 2 words: at home.
Do you miss watching games or calling games?
You know, I don't miss calling them at all. And I must say, I kind of demand something from the game I'm watching. If it's a very slowly played game, if it's just a long game, I might just turn it off and go to bed. We go to bed reasonably early. So I like to watch them for a while. And right now, it's, for instance, today, or this will be on the air tomorrow, Friday. But today, while we're taping this, we have football coming on tonight. We have the Dodgers playing tonight. We have a basketball game tonight. So we spend our time, my wife and I, bouncing from one sport to another. And on the weekend, we really look forward to watching golf.
Have you ever called a game without fans?
No, never. Maybe reasonably small crowds going back to Brooklyn where you could hear the voices of the individual fans. I remember I had just started with Red Barber and Connie Desmond, and I was really a kid. And there was a famous woman fan. Her name was Hilda Chester, and she had a cowbell. And she worked away all over the ballpark. She was extremely colorful. And this particular day, with a very small crowd, I heard her heavy voice say, "Vin Scully, I love you." And the crowd, whatever there was, kind of laughed. And I lowered my head. And she said, "Look at me when I'm talking to you." that's how small the crowd was one day in Ebbets Field.
But how important is that crowd for you, especially when you're doing a game on radio?
Oh, I loved it. I've told this story many times. When I grew up, about 8 years old, we had a big 4-legged radio, and I would crawl underneath it with some saltine crackers and a glass of milk, and I would listen to a college football game, and let's just say it was Alabama, Tennessee. I had no idea who was playing or anything, but I learned to love the roar of the crowd. And if I have a trademark, or had, it would be call the play as quickly and accurately as I could, and then shut up and listen to the crowd. And for a few seconds, I was 8 years old again. And someone during one of the World Series games, somebody hit a home run, and I called the home run. And as networks are wont to do, they showed the home run again, and I just shut up. And the columnist wrote, "Perhaps Vin Scully made his greatest contribution by saying nothing." And I took that to heart. I didn't think of it as criticism. I thought of it as, yes, you're right. The best thing I can do when the crowd roars is shut up. There's nothing better.
But to have that self-discipline, because it feels like announcers want to over-call a game, and here you are having almost a seatbelt on to say, play's over, quiet, let the crowd or ambiance settle in, and it almost feels like it would draw me closer to the game while I'm listening, because I almost lean in more because you're not saying anything.
Yeah, I think, again, it goes all the way back to my love of the roar of the crowd. Probably a couple of the longest pauses while I had an enjoyment of listening to the crowd. One would certainly be Kirk Gibson's World Series home run, and another one was Henry Aaron's record-breaking home run. I mean, what the heck can you say once you've called the home run, except sit back and really luxuriate listening to this crowd just be ecstatic. I loved it.
But you were also on the call for the catch with Joe Montana and Dwight Clark. Did you react the same way in a football moment as you would in a baseball moment?
Oh, sure. I mean, if I remember, there was less than a minute to go, and Montana throws to Clark, and the catch is made, and the Niners go out in front. There was still some seconds left for Dallas to come back. But when Dwight Clark caught that, I believe I said, Candlestick is a madhouse, and I shut up. And I just loved it. I got goosebumps, and that was the great part of the job, shutting up.
He's Vin Scully, the Hall of Famer, the former Dodger broadcaster, and now on Twitter. What took you so long to get on Twitter, Vin?
Well, to be honest, when I hung it up back in 2016, I figured I had said enough for a lifetime. But after a while, I realized I didn't really miss doing the game, but I kind of missed hearing from the fans a little bit. And some friends of mine said, you ought to get on social media and maybe you can exchange thoughts with people. So after listening to some friends for a couple of years, finally went on it. And I don't plan to do anything controversial. At no time will I give an opinion. I will only try to deal in facts, and basically baseball facts, nothing else. So it'll be very low-key, and if something is on Twitter asking me a question, if I can answer it, I'd be more than happy to do it. And basically, that's why, just for the fun of it, I guess you could say.
Vin is also auctioning off some of his personal collection, and this will take place at September 23rd, live internet auction, Hunt Auctions. The Scully collection consists of materials related to his 67-year broadcasting career, starting with Brooklyn and then the LA Dodgers. You're going back to the 50s up through 2016. I think the last scorebook that you had, scorecard is in the auction. Give people an idea what is in the auction and what made you come to this decision to get rid of it.
You know, when one day I was looking at the collection, and it's pretty vast and covers a lot of subjects, and I thought to myself, you know, with the 5 children, 16 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren, it would be better for me, maybe selfishly, to get money from the auction and give it to the kids who have a lot of little ones to educate, as opposed to willing it to them, and then I miss seeing their joy. I'm gone from here. So, first of all, I guess it was selfish that I wanted to share in whatever the collection would bring in on the auction. As far as the collection itself, there's the usual things. There's bats and balls and autographs. There's a Japanese tea coat, which is really exceptionally rare. That was back in 1956 when the Dodgers went to Japan. There are several letters from presidents along with signed presidential pictures, which are kind of rare. Give you an idea with the presidents, I had the pleasure of playing golf with number 41, as they call him, George Herbert Walker Bush, the late president. And we had played golf together, and we also played against each other in college. He was the first baseman at Yale, and I tried to play center field at Fordham. And we played up at New Haven. Great game. Yale won. It was either 2-1 or 3-1. It was a very good college game. And so when we were playing golf, I said to the president, Mr. President, as long as you're in the White House, you can say anything you want about your golf career. And also, your baseball career. But I said, remember, when you step out of the White House, we both went 0 for 3. Well, he just howled, which is the kind of man he was, and had a lot of fun doing that. So after our golf play, about 3 days later, a man showed up in the broadcasting booth with a little box, and he said, Ben, whatever. I said, yes, sir. He said, a little gift from the president. I said, wow. I said, thank you. And I opened it up, and there was a little note that said, having seen you play, I think you could use a few more golf balls. And in it were 3 presidential White House balls. So there are some tongue-in-cheek remarks from presidents, so they add a little something to the usual collection.
Yeah, I'm looking through. You're giving up World Series rings. I don't know. I might have to open up the wallet here, Vin. I would love to have the scorecard from your final game, but I saw where the estimate is between $10,000 and $15,000.
I don't have any idea. I don't really want to know until it's all over. That way, I won't be falsely elated and I won't be depressed. I will just gratefully take whatever they give me and immediately turn it over. We're also contributing some money to UCLA, especially for neuromuscular, the so-called Lou Gehrig's disease, and hopefully that'll help. It kind of ties me in with the disease in baseball.
And also, I don't know what that must have felt like when you see all of your memorabilia carted away. Was there one item where you said to your wife, you know what, maybe I should keep that?
No, I never did that, but I'll tell you, the one stroke of, memorabilia attack was I was watching them load the truck because everything went back to Philadelphia for safekeeping. Anyway, they were loading the truck, and I was watching calmly, no emotion, and all of a sudden, they brought out my golf clubs. And when they put those left-handed golf clubs in the truck, I realized that was a major portion of my life. I could hear the door slamming and see the clubs go off into the future. Wow. I think that was the biggest twinge that I had of all.
Did you play Augusta?
No, I broadcast Augusta. What would happen is the Sunday, the ball would roll into the cup. The crew, CBS crew, would have a party, and they would play Monday with the Sunday pin placements. Meanwhile, I was fighting traffic on a Sunday night, getting back to the airport to fly wherever the Dodgers were to pick up on the play for Monday. So I never played Augusta, even though I ached to play there. Oh. And a couple of times I was invited to play, but it just didn't work with my schedule. So the answer is a resounding no. But I did play St. Andrews, which was certainly a close second.
Vin, I hope you're well. Sounds like you're doing well. And sorry about your golf clubs, but hopefully you're able to raise some money there. And also a portion will go benefit the neuromuscular research at UCLA. Thanks again for joining us.
Dan, my pleasure to be with you. Thanks for the opportunity, and talk to you again one day.
That's the Dodger Hall of Famer, and the live internet auction, September 23rd. That's Hunt, H-U-N-T, Hunt Auctions, a 67-year broadcasting career of Vin Scully.